I love New York, Devon, UP. Lives a guy creating talk.
The Shadow knows.
Again, Blue Coal Dealers presents radio's strangest adventurer, The Shadow. Mystery man who strikes terror in the very hearts of shopsters, lawbreakers, and criminals. Today, Blue Coal brings you The Shadow's latest adventure, The Bride of Death. The Shadow begins his exciting adventure in just a moment. Meanwhile, I'd like to make a suggestion to all you homeowners. To protect your family's health and save real money in the bargain, burn blue coal. For blue coal gives you uniform, helpful, economical heat all winter long. Its harmless blue coloring is your guarantee of better heat at less cost. So when you're burning fuel, insist on blue coal. It's Pennsylvania's finest hard coal. Order a trial ton from your nearest blue coal dealer tomorrow.
Who are you? What do you want at Casamani at this hour of the night?
May I come in?
Oh, all right.
I'm the Reverend Colby from the fishing village below. I want to see Mrs. Ackley.
She has retired. Come again tomorrow.
I must see her tonight.
Why?
My daughter Isabel is here. She's Mrs. Ackley's companion, but I've come to take her home.
Ah, the girl Isabel. She does not wish to leave.
I've come to fetch her. I'm a man of the cloth, a man of peace, and I will not leave without her. Let me by.
Aka, Matawa, get the door. Stop him.
Yes, master, as you command. Let go of me. Take your hands off me, you heathen devils.
Push him out. Keep him out.
Wait.
Mrs. Ackley.
I will see him. How dare you break into my house this way, Reverend Colby?
Because I will not have my daughter stay in a house that harbors evildoers, Mrs. Ackley. There's talk in the village of heathen rites, performed by this man who calls himself Prophet of the Ancient One. This man you've brought to a Christian place from some Asiatic sinkhole of the godless.
Be careful how you speak in the presence of the prophet.
You mean that man there?
Yes, minister. I am the prophet.
Prophet, where is my daughter Isabel? She's leaving this house on the cliff tonight.
Tell Reverend Colby she does not wish to go. Tell him, Mrs. Ackley.
Your daughter Isabel does not wish to go. Good night, Reverend Colby.
I do not believe you. Let me see her. Let her tell me herself.
She does not wish to see you. Get beyond the iron gates quickly, for in 5 minutes my servants will release my trained guardians.
I'm not afraid of that unholy pack of Black Panthers of yours.
They are dangerous, minister, trained in my native land, trained to hunt and kill animals or men. Go now!
Very well. I'm going, but I'll be back. I'll be back.
Prophet, why? Why do the panthers scream?
It is an omen of death.
Whose death? Tell me. The future is so plain to you. Tell me, who is going to die?
I see the minister, Reverend Colby, standing in the pulpit of his church, turning these simple fishing folks against you, Mrs. Ackley.
Reverend Colby is going to die, but how?
The wrath of the Ancient One will strike him down with the voice of thunder and the tongue of fire.
3 days ago this night, I went to Mrs. Ackley's house on the cliff to bring my own daughter Isabel Colby home, but I could not see her, could not speak to her. She is lost to me. And therefore, let my own sorrow be a warning to those of you in this village whose sons and daughters may go to that house of the devil, to this man who dares desecrate the name of prophet.
Amen.
Now, let us offer a prayer for the mistress of Casamani. Though rich in worldly goods and worldly knowledge, and so long one of us, kindly and generous until of late, and now ailing in mind and spirit, who hath turned from God to follow the pathway of a disciple of Satan. Let us pray. We beseech thee, have mercy on this poor lost one who has strayed from the fold.
Of those who perished with him and whom he loved so well, we return the body of our beloved minister, Reverend Colby. Return him to the earth, ashes unto ashes, dust unto dust.
Well, here we are, Margot.
Yes, but where, Lamont? The fog's so thick I can't see a thing.
This is the little village where the Reverend Colby and 10 of his parishioners were killed by a mysterious explosion in his church.
Oh, it was horrible. But Lamont, it happened days ago. What can we do?
Murder has been committed, Margot. Wholesale murder. And the killer, or killers, are still at large.
But according to the newspaper reports...
Yes, I know. The paper said the authorities have been unable to uncover a possible motive. Investigation is hampered by the refusal of the fisher folk of this quaint little village to cooperate.
Perhaps they're afraid to talk, Lamont.
Yes. It's surprising what superstition can do.
What about this rich Mrs. Ackley you were talking about, Lamont? Where does she fit into the picture?
I don't know, Margot. All I know is that about 3 months ago she returned from the Far East with a man who calls himself the Prophet. This man claims to be the leader of a cult, worshipping a deity known as the Ancient One.
Is there such a cult?
There was, but it was stamped out nearly 5 centuries ago because its ceremonies and rituals included human sacrifice.
Human sacrifice? Oh, how horrible. Then you think there is a connection between this so-called prophet, the destruction of this Christian church, and the murder of Reverend Colby?
Margot, I don't know. I'm going to that cottage down the road. I want to ask some questions.
I'll wait in the car. Oh, that awful foghorn, it gives me the creeps.
You'll be safe here, Margot, but don't get out of the car.
All right.
Now, Lamont Cranston and the Shadow are going to find out something more about this mystery of the house on the cliff.
Seth,
Yes?
someone's at the door. Don't answer.
And why not, Marthy? You think it's a ghost from the marshes or that demon from the cliff house? Who's there?
Don't open the door, Seth.
A stranger! I've lost my way in the fog.
Tell him there's but one road back to the mainland.
Leave this to me, Marthy. Where you heading for, stranger?
Can you tell me how to get to Mrs. Ackley's place, Casamani?
Yes, I could. but I won't.
Wait! Don't close the door. I'd like to ask a few questions.
Questions, eh? Well, ask 'em. But I'll not warrant an answer to anyone going to that house.
You needn't be afraid of me.
I am Captain Seth. 50 years I've steeled before the mast, and I'm not afeard of man, devil, or the sea. Who be ya?
I'll tell you this much, Captain Seth. I'm here to put an end to the thing that made your wife afraid to let you open this door.
I can't see out there in the dark, but
Seth, those panthers, they've come down to the village again.
What? Panthers? Whose are they?
The prophets. Step into the house, stranger. They'll tear a man to pieces.
Ah!
What ails you, Marthy?
That blue light, it's him coming in the gate. He always carries it. It's him, the one that calls himself the prophet.
Well, let him come. Get in the house, stranger. Where? Well, Marthy, there's nobody here. Where is that fella gone? He was here a second ago.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he run for it. Seth, what do you suppose that prophet fellow wants of us?
Get away from the door, Marthy. I'll deal with him. Good evening, my good captain. Stop where you be. I'll not have the likes of you in my house. A stranger came here. His car is down the road. The spirit of the Ancient One told me of his coming. Who was this stranger? Where has he gone? To all your questions, I'll give you one answer. Get your howling beast and your heathen godless self back to the house on the cliff, or I'll throw you to the very door of Hades. No man threatens the prophet and lives. Get out! Very well, Captain. Since you will not tell me, I will find him. My servants are watching his car. We will find him. You'll need all the unearthly powers you can to find a man in this fog. Good night. I'll find him. He can't be far away.
No, not far away, but close to you. In the dark shadows and the swirling mists.
Who speaks?
I'm looking for a man with blood on his hands. The blood of a minister and 10 innocent people he murdered.
Are you a man hiding in the fog?
Do not try so hard to pierce the fog. You cannot see me, for I am the shadow.
The shadow? A voice without physical presence? Only a voice? No, my friend. In my native India, such things are known, but not here.
The powers of mesmerism have spread beyond the gray monastic walls of the yogi priests. Modern science has advanced that ancient art.
Perhaps, but I am still stronger than you. Strong enough to do what I have set out to do.
And what is that?
I will not tell you, Shadow, and no one, not even you with your borrowed powers, shall stand in my way, for I am the prophet of the Ancient One.
Master, stranger. He does not return to the automobile, but a young woman is there waiting for him.
So, could this be, Shadow, that you are this stranger we seek? That your companion waits for you? Akka!
Yes, master.
Go quickly, I will follow. Seize the girl. She will be useful to us, very useful. If I cannot reach the Shadow, I can reach his companion.
Yes, master. Matawa and the Panthers, watch her. She will not escape.
Do you hear, Shadow?
Yes, I hear.
Save her, if you can. You say you are a man. If that is true, then my panthers will smell you out, whether they can see you or not. There's the car. Akka, seize the girl.
Matawa, the girl! May Tanalo! May Tanalo!
Cover her mouth, you fools!
Help, Lamando!
Take her to the house on the cliff. We will keep her with Isabel Colby. She shall be tortured until she tells us what she knows.
At the beginning of this program, I made you a suggestion. To protect your family's health and save real money in the bargain, burn blue coal. Now here's the reason for blue coal's superiority. This fine home fuel is selected Pennsylvania anthracite, an American product mined by the Glen Alden Coal Company. Anthracite supplies clean, uniform, helpful heat from cellar to attic. Burns steadily, completely, down to a fine, powdery ash. So you see, anthracite combines all of the essentials necessary for perfect heating results. That's right. What's more, anthracite is the fuel that furnaces, parlors, stoves, and cooking ranges in this part of the country were especially designed to burn. And the cream of all anthracite is blue coal. No wonder it is the largest selling brand of solid fuel in America. No wonder blue coal sales in Auburn, New York this winter show a 15% increase over sales for the same period a year ago. Blue coal is more especially prepared for home use. Every carload is laboratory tested for purity and uniform size before shipment from the mine. And every piece of blue coal is trademarked with an unmistakable blue tint so that you can identify it at a glance. So when you're buying fuel, take a tip from Auburn, New York homeowners and ask for blue coal by name. You can get it in 4 popular sizes: eggs, stoves, chest ovens, and peaks. Order a trial ton from your nearest blue coal dealer tomorrow. You'll find him listed in the Where to Buy section of your classified telephone directory under the name Blue Coal.
Why did the prophet's servants bring you here, to Mrs. Ackley's house?
I don't know, but who are you and why are they keeping you locked up in this room?
Well, I'm Isabel Colby. My father was Reverend Colby, the minister of the little fishing village down the coast. He's dead. They murdered him.
Yes, I know. But why are you here?
I used to be Mrs. Ackley's companion and secretary before she brought this man, the prophet, to the house. But now that Hindu has some sort of hold over her mind. He calls her a high priestess, and she let him lock me up in here.
How terrible, Miss Colby. What is happening in this house to Mrs. Ackley and to you?
I don't know. It has something to do with a ceremony that the prophet says he and Mrs. Ackley must perform. The climax is some strange religious ritual they go through day after day in Mrs. Ackley's private chapel. It's changed into a place he calls the Temple of the Ancient One. This morning he came here and said, I am to be what he calls the Bride of Death. They're going to take me to that temple tonight.
Do you know why?
Yes, to kill me.
Oh, no.
Mrs. Ackley, as the high priestess, is going to sacrifice me to that horrible deity they worship.
Oh, don't give up hope, Isabel. There's still a chance we'll get out of this place, both of us. Oh, Lamont, why don't you come before it's too late? Maybe this is...
Aka, unlock the door.
No, don't let them take me, don't.
Isabel Colby, the time has come. The high priestess is waiting to perform her ceremony in the Temple of the Ancient One.
No!
Matawa!
Yes, master.
Take the girl Isabel to the shrine. Tell the high priestess to prepare the girl and herself for the wedding of death.
Come. My master commands
No,
you.
I won't go.
Get your hands off Miss Colby.
Aka, seize the strange girl!
No, let go of me.
Yes, master. I kill her now.
No! Matawa, take the girl Isabel to the shrine. Wait there for me. Prepare the sacred fire. Purify the sword of the Ancient One. The sacrificial altar is ready, and death is waiting for his bride.
Yes, master.
No, you're going to murder me like you murdered my father.
Now, strange girl, I will deal with you.
Prophet, you will deal with me, the Shadow.
Thank heavens you've come.
You, the Shadow, here? How? There are panthers chained at every door.
It was easy, Prophet.
Oh, I knew the Shadow would come. I knew he couldn't be far away.
So you do know the Shadow, the slinking coward who fears to show himself, who hides himself in the shadows.
Shadow, the prophet is going to kill Reverend Colby's daughter. He's going to make Mrs. Ackley kill her in some fantastic ceremony.
Yes, in a few minutes she will be dead and you cannot stop it.
Clever scheme. You've numbed the failing mind of Mrs. Ackley with drugs. Made her do your will. Sign her fortune over to you.
Your knowledge will not help you now, Shadow.
You plan to have Mrs. Ackley commit murder. Turn her over to the police. Blame her for the death of Reverend Colby. And with her fortune in your hands, discard your role of prophet and disappear.
You are clever, Shadow. Yes, that is my plan. It is a pity such a mind as yours will soon be lost to the world. Within an hour after Mrs. Ackley has obligingly murdered the girl Isabel, this house will burn. A tank of gasoline in the cellar will explode, and this will be the funeral pyre of the Shadow and his beautiful young companion. But I must go now. They are waiting for me.
You're not going through that door. It is locked.
You lie. It is! Akka! Someone!
They cannot hear you. They're waiting for you in the temple, and I have the key to the door.
You are not so clever, Shadow. Give me the key to the door, or I shoot this girl!
Take that gun away from her head.
Throw the key upon that table, quick!
Give him the key. I'm not afraid of him.
I shall count to 3, Shadow. If I don't get the key, it's a pity. But this beautiful girl shall die. 1.
You wouldn't.
2, 3. Ah, you are wise, Shadow.
You fiendish devil. I'll show you the Shadow can do more than warn. Threaten. Take that!
Oh, Lamont. Oh, Lamont, are you all right?
Yes, but I'm afraid I knocked the prophet out cold. Margot, take that key. Get out of here. Down the hall, there's a door. Take the prophet's gun. Drive to that cottage I visited tonight. Get Captain Seth to call the villagers. Tell them they can help to avenge the murder of their friend.
What are you going to do? They may kill Isabel before I can get help.
Never mind. You hurry and get help.
All right, I'll go. I'll get Captain Seth to round up the people of the village, and then I'll come back.
Very well, Margot. I may need your help. Come back to this room.
I'll be back in a few minutes. Lamont? Lamont?
Yes, Margot.
I saw Captain Seth. The people of the village are coming. He's calling them together.
We can't wait for him, Margot. Beyond that door, at the head of the stairs, death is waiting for Isabel Colby. The prophet's followers are there, awaiting his appearance.
But the prophet's still lying here, unconscious on the floor.
Nevertheless, he will not disappoint them.
Lamont, I don't understand.
Margot, I'm going to ask you to do a very dangerous thing. I want you to put on the prophet's robe, cover your face with a hood, and walk in there as the prophet.
Very well. I'll do anything I can, you know that.
Do not show your face till you reach the altar. Don't speak. Keep close to Isabel Colby. Watch Mrs. Ackley, and leave the rest to me.
Yes, Lamont. I understand. I'm ready.
Metanalo, esti lasti calamara, calamara metanalo, sadamor. O Ancient One, vision of eternal life, before thy altar the youthful maiden awaits. Thy ancient sword, her spirit to release unto thine own. Her blood is pledged, her soul is thine. Metana lo esti lasti, calamara sadamor. All is in readiness, Master.
Altaira, look. The hood covers the master's face. The hour has come for the ritual to begin. See, Master! The girl Isabel is lashed to the altar of the Ancient One. The sacred fires burn in the jeweled torches. All is in readiness, master, all as you have commanded. Matawa, bring Mrs. Ackley. Prepare her to make the sacrifice.
I am ready. Ready to do the will of the prophet, to plunge this sword into the girl's heart. But I am afraid. Help me. Give me the sacred drug to give me strength, the will to do the things you have told me I must do, if I am to be high priestess to the Ancient One.
Look, Matawa, it is strange. The master does not speak, does not answer us.
He goes to the shrine alone.
Wait, he turns. He is lifting the hood of his robes.
Aka, look, it is not the prophet. It is a beautiful girl. It is the strange girl, the one the master stayed below to question about the shadow.
What has happened to our master? Why do you wear the robes of the prophet? Aka, Matawa, you have been tricked. The man you serve as a god is a rogue, a charlatan, a fake. That voice, Matawa, that is not the voice of the prophet. It is not the strange girl speaking. See, her lips have not moved. No, it is the voice of the shadow.
The shadow? The master warned us to beware of this shadow, Aka.
Matawa, the master must be dead. The shadow has killed him.
Prophet, the time has come. I must drive this sword into the heart of the bride of death. I will not fail. Don't do it. They're tricking you, making you murder me. Then they'll kill you. They'll kill you. No, I shall be a high priestess. I shall live forever like the prophet, like the Ancient One.
Mrs. Ackley, drop that sword. Drop that sword, Mrs. Ackley. Drop it, I say.
Drop the sword. Yes, drop the sword.
Aka, look. The shadow has broken the master's power over this woman.
I am free. Free of this spell. Oh, what have I done? What have I done?
He is stronger than the master. We must escape. We must get away.
You will never get away. Never leave this house.
Aka! Matawa!
The prophet!
That girl is wearing my robes. Draw your knives. Kill her! Kill her, I command you!
Don't! No, prophet, we obey you no more.
Obey me!
Tricked us! Make us kill! Say you are the true prophet of the Ancient One.
You defy me? Don't! Drop that knife!
See, the blood runs in his veins. He tell us he cannot die. Now we can see.
Of course. Now the shadow will destroy you.
He is dead. The shadow spoke the truth, Matawa. He was not the true prophet. The true prophet of the Ancient One was blessed with life everlasting. You are right, Aka. Quick, we must get away from the shadow. You cannot escape for long. Your sins will find you out.
Oh, thank you.
Isabel! Isabel!
Miss Colby, you're safe.
Oh, thank you. Won't you tell me who you are?
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I must remain anonymous until my work is finished. I will have to continue being known only as the Shadow.
Now, here is John Barclay, Blue Coal's heating expert, with a few words of heating advice for you.
Thank you, Ken Roberts. Good evening, friends. During the month of March, when the weather is very changeable, a cold spell and then a warm spell, some homeowners get the impression that they're economizing on fuel by putting only a little coal on the furnace fire during milder days. As a matter of fact, that is one of the surest ways to actually waste fuel. Shallow fires burn coal quickly, have a tendency to go out easily, can't deliver sufficient heat, and make repeated refueling necessary. The truly economical way to fire a furnace is to keep a deep fire bed at all times. It should always be up to a level with the bottom of the fire door. In mild weather, if you like, you can leave a little heavier layer of ash on the grates. This will keep the fire burning very slowly, yet keep enough coal burning to provide sufficient heat should the outside temperature drop suddenly. Let me impress you with this important point. After putting fresh coal on the fire, be sure to leave an exposed spot of live coals directly in front of your fire door. The hot spot will act as a pilot light and ignite the gases that come up from fresh coal. Allow these gases to become ignited before checking the fire. If you follow this method of firing throughout the changeable March weather, you will get the utmost efficiency and economy from your furnace. However, if you still have difficulty in properly heating your home, call your nearest blue coal dealer and ask him to send a John Barclay serviceman to inspect your furnace. This service is free to blue coal customers. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barclay. And friends, don't fail to take advantage of the free John Barclay service. Phone your nearest blue coal dealer tomorrow. You have just heard a dramatization version of one of the many copyrighted stories which appear in the Shadow magazine. All the characters and all the places named are fictitious. Any similarities to persons living or dead is purely coincidental.
As you sow evil, so shall you reap evil. Crime does not pay. The shadow knows.
Next week, same time, same station, Blue Coal, America's finest anthracite, will again present another thrilling adventure of the Shadow. Be sure to listen. This is George Fennell saying, be sure to burn blue coal, the solid fuel for solid comfort. Today's episode featured David H. Brown as the Shadow, and Akka, Adele Cohen as Margot Lane, Cody Mitchell as the Prophet and Captain Seth, Joan Luz Holt as Isabel Colby, Marthy, and Mrs. Ackley. Craig Howard played Reverend Colby, Matawa, and John Barclay. You've been listening to the Altaira Broadcasting System.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
The thrilling adventures of the Shadow are on the air, brought to you each week by the Blue Coal Dealers of America. These dramatizations are designed to demonstrate forcibly to old and young alike that crime does not pay. While they set the stage for today's Shadow drama, let me ask you a brief but vital question. Have you heard about the new easy three-way plan for better home heating? It's the Blue Coal Plan, with the accent on convenience, economy, and comfort. Blue coal in your furnace means a steady-burning, longer-lasting fire that heats your home comfortably from cellar to attic. Next time you order fuel, insist on Blue Coal. Your neighborhood Blue Coal dealer will be glad to explain his three-way plan for better home heating. Phone him tomorrow, won't you? The Shadow, mysterious character who aids the forces of law and order, is in reality Lamont Cranston, wealthy young man about town. As the Shadow, Cranston is gifted with hypnotic power to cloud man's minds so that they cannot see him. Cranston's friend and companion, the lovely Margot Lane, is the only person who knows to whom the voice of the invisible Shadow belongs. Today's story, The Shadow Challenged.
Hello? No, I can't speak to him, and please don't put any more calls through, operator. I'm busy working, and I don't wish to be disturbed. Thank you. Now, let me see. Where was I? Oh, yes. What was that?
I'm sorry to interrupt your work, Professor Rice.
Who is that? Who's speaking? I see no one.
I am called the Shadow.
The Shadow? I've heard of you, but what are you doing here?
That manuscript you're translating, Professor Rice. It is of great value, is it not?
Yes, of course.
I want you to give it to me, Professor.
Give you this manuscript? Why, that's impossible. It's not mine. It belongs to the museum. It's a direct key to ancient Hindu culture.
I know. That's why I've come here. I want that manuscript.
Now see here. I've always had a great respect for you, Shadow. You work for the forces of good against the forces of evil, but now you're behaving like a common thief.
Give me that manuscript.
No.
Very well. I see that I must use other methods.
What do you mean? What are you going to do?
This is what I'm going to do, Professor Rice.
Shadow, why did you do this?
Oh, Lamont Cranston, to think that I believed you all these years when you told me what a golfer you were.
Well, I just had an off day, that's all, Margot. Even the best of us experience those. Besides, I'm not used to playing in the sun.
You weren't in the sun. You were in the nice shady woods. You never saw the fairway all day.
All right, you win.
Do we have time for a swim?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, good.
Big snowstorm.
I've got to vindicate my athletic ability in some fashion.
Extra.
Say, don't you ever change that headline down here?
Well, not till they think of a better one. Paper, mister?
All right, here you are.
Thanks. Extra. Entire northern states buried by snowstorm. Read all about it.
Well, how bad was the storm? How many feet of snow?
Margot, you're talking like a tourist. All they need is a flurry up north to cause a headline like this.
Oh, really?
Sure. You get used to these headlines after you're... Margot?
What?
Margot, look at this.
What is it?
The story on the front page. Museum professor murdered by the Shadow.
By the Shadow?
Well, that's what it says. Professor Rice of the Cosmopolitan Museum was found dying in his apartment late this evening by the police. In the deathbed statement to the Commissioner Weston, he described his assailant as an invisible man who called himself the Shadow.
Why, Lamont, that's impossible. How do you explain it?
Well, I have no explanation. But one thing is certain. We're catching the next plane north. And you say, Commissioner Weston, that the dying man swore that his assailant was the Shadow.
That's right.
Well, somehow I can't believe that.
Now look, Miss Lane. Facts are facts.
What Margot means, Commissioner, is that she can't believe that the Shadow would do such a thing.
Well, that's her opinion. Me, I think different.
What do you mean?
I've always suspected that the Shadow was a criminal at heart.
Why?
Otherwise, why would he always remain invisible? No, I tell you, he's a bad egg, and this murder confirms it.
This manuscript, Commissioner, the one the killer stole from Professor Rice, what do you know about it?
Well, it's something that the professor was working on. Rice and 3 other scholars are employed by the Cosmopolitan Museum, specializing in I don't know, restoration and recreation of ancient Hindu culture.
Yes, I'm acquainted with all of them and their work.
Well, you probably know more about it than I do. Anyway, this manuscript was very valuable to them.
But what value would it have to anyone else?
That's out of the department, Miss Lane. My job is who put it to the corpus delicti. In other words, who killed Professor Rice? And the answer to that is the Shadow.
And the motive?
Larceny, my friend. Good old-fashioned larceny. Shadow wanted that manuscript, and he killed a guy to get it.
Commissioner, I don't think that the Shadow had anything to do with it.
Look, I heard the accusation with my own ears, just before the erstwhile Professor Rice gave up the ghost.
Oh, nevertheless, I can't believe the Shadow is guilty, and I hope to be able to prove my point.
How?
Well, with your permission, I'd like to go to the museum and talk to Professor Rice's associates, see what I can learn.
Go ahead. Go ahead, my friend.
We'll leave the car here, Margot. I believe that the night entrance to the museum is in this wing.
Lamont, do you suppose that someone has discovered your secret and is misusing it in the Shadow's name?
That's possible, Margot.
Well, what else could it be?
Well, perhaps Weston is putting the blame of the crime on the Shadow to excuse his department's inability to solve the murder.
Oh, Lamont, what a horrible thing to do.
Well, it's just a supposition, Margot. Well, here we are. I'll have to ring for the watchman.
What do you expect to find out here, Lamont?
Well, I want to talk to the other professors and find out more about the missing manuscripts.
Yes? What is it?
Good evening. We wish to see either Professor Carter or Hagen or Professor Amud.
Yes?
I know they're working here this evening.
Are you expected?
Yes, we are.
Oh, then. Come in.
Thank you.
We seldom have visitors at this late an hour.
Well, I guess not.
I must ask you to walk quietly, please. They do not like to be disturbed.
You mean the professors?
Oh, no, not the professors. I mean those that live here.
Oh, are there people living here?
Shh! This is their time to rest.
Who?
Those that you see about you. The statues, the paintings. It tires them, you know, people staring at them throughout the day.
Oh, yes, I can understand that.
Lamont, does he mean that...
Margot? The statues, they must appreciate your consideration for them, sir.
Oh, yes. Yes, they do. They know that I watch over them through the night. That there is the door to the offices. I must leave you here.
Well, thank you.
Yes, it was nice of you to show us the way.
Not at all. Good night.
Good night.
Yes, good night. Cheerful fellow, makes you feel right at home.
Well, let's go in, Margot.
It's you, Mr. Cranston. I didn't expect to see anyone.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Miss Lane, Professor Carter.
How do you do?
How do you do, Miss Lane? Won't you go into the office? Professor Amud is there. I have to consult a file. I'll be right back.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Professor Carter. Well, come along, Margot.
All right.
May we come in?
Oh, yes, of course, Mr. Cranston. Do come in.
Thank you. I don't believe you know Miss Lane?
No, I have never had the pleasure.
This is Professor Amud, Margot.
How do you do, Professor?
I am most delighted to make your acquaintance. Won't you both be seated?
Thank you.
Thank you. I spoke to Professor Hagen this afternoon. Did he explain to you the purpose of my visit?
Yes, he did. You are interested, I believe, in solving the murder of our most worthy colleague, Professor Rice.
Yes.
A very noble endeavor.
I thought I might begin by learning more about the manuscript that Professor Rice was working on when he was killed.
An excellent beginning.
Yes. What was its value, Professor Amud?
The missing manuscript was quite priceless in rarity, but its monetary value was slight indeed, because any attempt to resell it would bring immediate arrest.
Well, Professor, what was in the manuscript?
I must confess that I do not know. You see, it was one section of a single volume that the four of us were translating. Each of us took 1/4 of the work.
The work deals with ancient Hindu culture, doesn't it?
Yes.
Would it by chance contain any secrets? Secrets of that civilization which could be of value to someone today?
I fear that I am not at liberty to answer that question, Mr. Cranston. Perhaps Professor Hagen might be of greater service to you. He's our superior, you know.
Where is the professor?
He's working in the laboratory upstairs. I shall be most willing to go up and get him for you.
But can't you possibly...
I shall return in a moment with Professor Hagen. You will excuse me, Miss Lane, Mr. Cranston. Thank you.
Why, yes.
Well. Our Hindu friend didn't appear to be too willing to talk.
No. I believe he knows much more than he'd care to tell.
Lamont, I wonder if... Should we answer it?
Well, I suppose I'd better. Hello?
To who am I speaking?
This is Lamont Cranston.
Oh, then I can leave my message with you.
Certainly. What is it?
Of the 3 men who once were 4, one more is about to die.
Who is this? Who is speaking?
The Shadow.
The Shadow? Hello? Hello?
What's the matter, Lamont?
That person on the phone called himself the Shadow.
Then there is an impersonator.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry to be so long.
Well, Professor Carter, someone just called on the phone. He said that one of you 3 professors is about to die.
What?
It might be a prank, but we can't take any chances.
Where are the others?
Upstairs in the laboratory. You better take us up there at once.
Oh, yes. Follow me. Up these stairs.
Come along, Margot.
I can't imagine who'd ever...
Oh! There's trouble up there. Hurry, Carter!
That sounded like Amund's voice. Right in here. What's wrong?
Oh, Margot, you'd better stay out of here. It's not a pleasant sight.
Amund, what happened? What happened to Professor Hagen?
I found him so on the floor, dying.
Was he still alive when you got here?
Yes.
Could he talk to you? Did you learn anything?
Yes, he told me his attacker was an invisible man who calls himself the Shadow.
Well, Margot, we now have definitive proof that someone is impersonating the Shadow.
Yes, Lamont, but what can you do about it?
Don't worry, Margot. I've always used the power of the Shadow to aid the forces of law and order, to help good conquer evil.
Yes, I know.
And now that someone else has discovered my secret of invisibility and is misusing this power, I shall travel to the ends of the earth to conquer him. This, Margot, is the Shadow's greatest challenge, but I'm sure that I can meet it and come out on top.
We'll find out how the Shadow meets his challenge in just a moment. But first, are you running your home on a budget plan? If you are, then every penny counts, and you can save not only pennies, but dollars by heating your home with Blue Coal. Yes, any way you look at it, Blue Coal gives you more for your money. It burns better, lasts longer, distributes dependable, helpful heat that will cut down your heating costs. And no wonder. You see, Blue Coal is America's finest hard coal. It comes from the heart of the northern Pennsylvania anthracite fields, thousands of feet below the surface where only the choicest hard coal is mined. What's more, with every order of Blue Coal, you enjoy the extra home heating service and free advice of your neighborhood Blue Coal dealer. Besides, he'll give you a free demonstration of the Blue Coal automatic heat regulator. Just as its name implies, the Blue Coal automatic heat regulator regulates the heat in your home by operating furnace dampers automatically. You simply set the thermostat, and the heat regulator does the rest. Blue Coal and the Blue Coal heat regulator work together with clock-like precision to increase your comfort and reduce wasted fuel. Ask your neighborhood Blue Coal dealer about this modern way to heat your home. His name is listed in the Where to Buy section of your classified telephone directory under the word Blue Coal. Call him tomorrow, and make sure you do. And now, back to the shadow.
Lamont, have you uncovered any clues, any leads as to the identity of this person who's masquerading as the shadow?
Nothing important, no. But in the past 12 hours, I've received 2 mysterious, unsigned messages.
Really? What about?
I'll read you one of them. It says, "Why don't you inquire into the jealousy of the 4 who are now 2?
Does that refer to the 4 professors?
Yes, and I learned that it's quite true. A great jealousy existed. All 4 men, although they worked together, were constantly vying with one another for individual glory.
Then that's why the original manuscript was divided among the 4 of them.
Exactly.
Well, Lamont, you mentioned that you received 2 messages. What was the other one?
Well, I have it here. Listen to this. What were the secrets to be found in the manuscript that was being translated by the 4 who are now 2?
And did you learn the answer to that question?
Oh, not very satisfactorily. I can only guess that these secrets were of an occult nature. Secrets of the ancient Orient.
I see.
And it was in the Orient, Margot, that the Shadow learned his secret of invisibility.
Yes, of course. Lamont, who could have sent those messages?
I don't know his identity, but judging by the phrases he used, they were written by the same man I spoke to on the telephone, the man who calls himself the Shadow.
But why should he be helping you?
I wish I knew. In any case, Margot, this message bears further investigation. So, I think I shall begin by paying a call on Professors Carter and Amud as the Shadow.
Do you by any chance have a feeling of uneasiness, my dear Professor Carter?
How do you mean?
We still have in our trusted possession the remaining parts of the manuscript. That would make us, shall I say, logical victims.
Then you believe, Professor Amud, that we too are marked for death?
That was not my statement. I merely point to the past as a warning of the future.
Well, that's a pleasant picture. If you don't mind, Professor, I'd rather not hear any more of your prophecies tonight.
Very well, if that...
What was that?
You'll pardon my intrusion, gentlemen.
Who speaks? I see no one.
Allow me to introduce myself. I am called the Shadow.
The Shadow? He's coming. He's coming to kill us.
Now. Don't be alarmed, Professor Carter. I shan't harm you. I've merely come here seeking information.
It is true, just as we have heard. You are invisible, Shadow.
Yes.
Very interesting, but how do you achieve this invisibility?
By hypnotizing your minds, gentlemen.
Are you here to kill us, as you did the others?
I did not kill the others, Professor Carter. That was done by an impostor who used my name. And you can both help me to trap this masquerading murderer.
Help you? How?
By telling me what I wish to know. By answering my questions.
What are your questions?
What precious secrets were contained in the manuscripts that were stolen?
Secrets? I do not understand.
No evasions, please, Professor Amud. You are both working on sections of that book. What is it about? What mysteries of the ancient Orient does it reveal?
I am afraid you have been misinformed, my dear Shadow, hasn't he, Professor Carter?
Well, yes, there are no secrets.
You're lying. Both of you.
Lying?
Yes, and your lies are most incriminating. You see, gentlemen, I happen to know the circumstances surrounding the death of Professor Hagen. And based on these circumstances, either of you could have been his murderer.
That's not true.
You don't know what you're saying, Shadow.
Ah, but I do. So shall we say, gentlemen, that it might be wise for both of you in the future to be much more careful.
Lamont, did you learn anything from Amud or Carter?
Well, nothing definitive. They wouldn't talk, either of them.
Oh, dear. Well, what's to be done now?
I'm not sure. I think that I'll take it. Hello?
Is this Lamont Cranston?
Yes.
I just want to tell you that of the 4 who now are 2, One more is about to go.
Who is this?
You know who this is, Mr. Cranston. I am the Shadow.
Hello? Hello!
Oh, Lamont, was that the imposter?
Yes. He's delivered another warning.
What was it?
Another one of the professors is marked for death.
Oh, which one?
He didn't say. We must warn them both at once. Come on, Margot. Carter lives right down the street. We'll go to his place first. If he's all right, we'll call Professor Ahmud from there. But come quickly. We must hurry. Professor Carter! Professor Carter!
Lamont, do you suppose something's happened to him already?
We'll find out soon enough. I'll use this skeleton key. I hate to do this, but... there we are. Come on, Margot. Professor Carter?
Lamont, look, the living room. There's been a fight.
Yes, furniture overturned, lamps broken.
But where's Professor Carter?
I'll look in the bedroom. Carter! Carter, you in there?
Any sign of him, Lamont?
No, and this is the only other room in the apartment.
What could have happened to him?
I don't know. It's quite obvious, though, that he was the one selected as the next victim.
This whole thing becomes more baffling every minute.
Quite the contrary, Margot. I think it becomes increasingly clear.
What do you mean, Lamont?
Before we came here, Margot, I was practically convinced that either Carter or Ahmud was the one who murdered Hagen and Rice.
Lamont, are you serious?
Yes, Margot. I felt that one of them had learned something from their share of the manuscript that made them kill to obtain the other men's copies.
I see. But how was the shadow impersonated?
Well, that fits into it, Margot, very neatly. I learned the secret of invisibility in the Orient. It came from an ancient source, and one of those men could have learned this secret from the manuscript.
Yes, that's very logical. But now that Carter is missing...
Yes, that leaves only Ahmud. And I believe we should call on that gentleman at once. We'd like to see Professor Ahmud, please.
I'm sorry, sir, but he's not in his apartment.
When do you expect him?
Not for some time, sir. He's been called out of town unexpectedly.
When did he leave?
A short time ago, sir.
Did he say where he was going?
No, sir. He just said he'd be gone for an indefinite period.
Well, I guess that just proves Ahmud's guilt, doesn't it, Lamont?
I don't know, Margot. I've been reviewing the entire case in my mind, and several new factors have occurred to me.
What are they?
Well, let's wait until we get to the apartment, Margot, and we'll talk over a cup of tea.
All right.
Oh, won't you go in, Margot?
Yes, thanks. Lamont! Look, there seems to be a note here right under the door.
A note? Let me see it.
Here.
Well, listen to this, Margot. Tonight, at the hour of midnight, in the storage room in the basement of the museum, the one whom you seek can be found.
Does that mean the person who was masquerading as the shadow?
I think it does. What time is it, Margot?
Let's see, about 20 of 12.
Well, if I don't want to keep our friend waiting, I better get over to the museum.
Oh, Lamont, suppose this is a trap of the killer's, a scheme to do away with you as he did the others.
I'll chance that, Margot. But I want you to get word to Commissioner Weston. Have him at the museum with his men at 12:15. Tell him that he will find the murderer who has pretended to be the shadow. Is there anyone here? This is Lamont Cranston. Is there anyone here? Who is that?
Oh, don't let me frighten you, Mr. Cranston. I am your old friend, the Shadow.
You are not the shadow.
No? How would you know that? Answer me.
I repeat, you are not the shadow.
I see. And would your knowledge be based on the fact that you yourself are the Shadow? Would it, Mr. Cranston? You don't have to answer. I know. I've known for some time now you are the Shadow.
What makes you think so?
I've followed the activities of the Shadow for many years. I was most curious to learn his real identity. I began keeping track of the people who were present before and after all of his appearances.
I see. And after discarding many suspects, your search narrowed down to me. Is that it?
That's it exactly. And I am the only man who knows the identity of the shadow.
Well, I must compliment you on your cleverness. I admit to you, I am the shadow.
Yes, but a very powerless shadow at this point. Having learned your secret of invisibility, I hypnotized your mind before you were aware of me. This time, the real shadow is visible, and I am the one unseen.
How did you learn my secret?
From the Hindu manuscript.
Then you admit the murder of Professor Hagen and Professor Rice.
Yes. Yes, unfortunately, they were in the way.
Why did you commit these crimes in my name?
Because I wanted to attract the attention of you, the real shadow, and I succeeded. I led you on, Lamont Cranston, with my phone calls and anonymous notes.
Why? What was your purpose?
My purpose was and is to put an end to your activities. After tonight, Mr. Cranston, I alone will be the shadow, and I shall capitalize on this power. You were a fool.
Why do you say that?
Always working for the powers of good. I shall take real advantage of the name. With the trick of invisibility, the world will be mine.
I gather that I am to be the next victim in your chain of murders?
To put it bluntly, yes.
I should think that you would make more sure of your talents for invisibility before you attempted that.
What do you mean?
Unlike your other victims, my mind is not receptive to your hypnosis.
What are you saying?
I mean that you have been perfectly visible to me ever since you entered this room, Professor Carter.
What? You see me?
Most clearly. And now, if you will observe closely, I shall instruct you in the true art of hypnosis. Look at me, Professor Carter.
No.
Look at me.
No. No.
I am disappearing before your eyes. You see? You see?
Wait. You can't do this. You're destroying my power, do you hear? You're clouding my mind, Cranston.
I am no longer Cranston, Professor Carter. I am the shadow.
So, you think you've tricked me, do you? So you think you've gained the upper hand? But you're wrong. You're wrong.
That revolver won't be of much use. How will you ever find your target?
I'll find you. I'll find you.
Try again, Carter.
I won't miss this time. Open up in there. Open up.
I believe that's the police, Carter. You better put down that gun.
Let them come and get me. And they better come shooting.
You'll have to break open that door, Commissioner.
We're coming in.
And beware, this man in here is armed.
Keep out of here. I'm warning you. Keep out. You're not going to take me. Ah! Oh.
He's been hit, Commissioner. Come ahead.
Shadow. So you're here too.
I came here to apprehend that man on the floor. He is the one who used my name in killing Hagen and Rice.
What? What are you saying?
Look, he's still conscious. Ask him. Ask him.
All right. Why, it's Professor Carter.
Yes, he was my impersonator.
Carter. Professor Carter, is this true? Yes, it's true. How did you make yourself invisible? I learned the secret from the manuscript I destroyed. Carter, listen to me. You must know the identity of the real shadow, don't you? Yes. Who is he? Help! The real shadow is...
You'll never learn now, Commissioner. But I think you should know this. In the future, you must always believe one thing about me. The shadow, at all times, will be working on the side of right and justice.
We'll hear again from the Shadow in just a moment. But first, here's John Barclay, America's home heating expert. Mr. Barclay?
Well, thank you, George Fennell. And good evening, friends. You know, it's amazing how many people have the idea that there's only one size of hard coal. Well, yes, and I dare say just as many people think that it makes no difference what size coal they burn in their furnace. As a matter of fact, hard coal is prepared and sold in several home sizes, and it may be that one particular size, or possibly a combination of sizes, will give you the best heat for the least money. Of course, many factors enter into the choice size coal for your particular furnace. Factors such as chimney construction, draft conditions, and the size of your furnace. At any rate, a trained John Barclay serviceman can give a quick inspection of your heating plan and tell at a glance whether or not you're burning the right size coal. This free inspection is part of the extra home heating service provided by your neighborhood blue coal dealer. So remember, if you're not completely satisfied with the results you're getting, maybe you're burning the wrong size coal. Just phone your neighborhood blue coal dealer first thing in the morning. Thank you.
Today's program is based on the story copyrighted by The Shadow magazine. The characters, names, places, and plot are fictitious. Any similarity to persons living or dead is purely coincidental.
The weed of crime bears bitter fruit. Crime does not pay. The shadow knows.
Next week, same time, same station, the Blue Coal Dealers of America bring you an adventure of The Shadow that will amaze you with its breathtaking thrills. So be sure to listen and be sure to phone your friendly Blue Coal dealer for greater heating comfort at less cost. This is George Fennell saying, keep the home fires burning with Blue Coal. Today's performance featured Cody Mitchell as The Shadow and Professor Rice, Adele Cohen as Margot Lane, Craig Howard portrayed Professor Carter, the Imposter, Commissioner Weston, and John Barclay, David H. Brown as Professor Ahmoud and the Watchman, and Joan Lasholt as the Newsie and the Doorman. This is the Altaira Broadcasting System.